Amy Berry, everyone. Is she not coming out just yet? She is the CEO of the Tahoe Fund based in Lake Tahoe. She leads the organization's efforts to ensure more environmental improvement projects are completed around Lake Tahoe. The Tahoe Fund's portfolio is more than 25 projects, including critical watershed restoration projects, new sections of the Lake Tahoe Bikeway, and prevention and control of aquatic invasive species, perhaps those algae you're referring to.
Yeah.
Federal appointee to the Lake Tahoe Federal Advisory Committee. She knows Lake Tahoe. And she won the 2016 Lake Tahoe Freshwater Twerking Contest.
Which I judged.
It's
really good.
I may have made up the last bullet point. Okay, that may not be true. We'll find out.
Do you really judge her?
A big round of applause for Amy Berry, everyone. Were you prepared for that intro?
I've never twerked before.
You haven't? Well, the night is young. I'm sure both either Justin and Florentine, you guys could give some twerking instructions.
There'll be some twerking instructions later. You need to teach us all of your tricks.
Bring that back
We
to
want to make it on Housewives of Lake Tahoe. I thought this was Real Housewives.
I think this might be. Okay.
Amy won the freshwater twerking, I won the seawater twerking.
That's true. That's only because you're more salty, Justin.
Maybe because they have taste.
Because Amy started on time.
Oh! No! That's true.
Oh, boy.
I'll give it to you. And Amy, my first question for you.
Okay, let's. Now, Amy, you can take them home with you, by the way, tonight if you want.
Oh, good.
If there's room in the back of your car. So, you are the CEO of the Lake Tahoe Fund. Can you first tell us what more about what the Lake Tahoe Fund does?
Sure. The Tahoe Fund is all about the long-term preservation of Lake Tahoe. We really want to make Tahoe an even better place than it is now. We've got over 20 million people a year to visit the lake, and we have a really pristine natural environment, and sometimes putting 20 million people in a pristine natural environment takes a little bit of work to maintain that environment.
That's true. Look at these two. Okay.
My second question for you, Amy.
If by the end of the show we can ban them from Lake Tahoe, we might have to see this. Now, how long has the Lake Tahoe Fund existed?
So we were started in 2010, pretty soon after the economic crash, when public funding really started to fall off a cliff. And there was a question of, okay, there's all these wonderful projects around Tahoe that we want to get done. There isn't much public funding. Where's the next round of funding going to come from?
Okay.
And so a group of amazing leaders from the lake got together and they said, hey, there's never been a nonprofit dedicated to helping raise private funds for projects. And Senator Feinstein was a big supporter early on, and she said, if you guys can bring the private funding, we can get you more public funding. So we were started. And I'm happy to say, since that time, we have now, just even in the last few years, we've used a little less than $2 million of private funding to secure over $40 million of funding.
Wow, look at that. We all enjoy that when we get to Lake Tahoe. And what made you decide to get involved in this, very proactive, role helping Lake Tahoe? What made you fall in love with Lake Tahoe?
I first saw Lake Tahoe in the late 1990s, and I was just totally blown away. I've never seen anything so beautiful. Now, I grew up in New Jersey, so that's my reference.
Basically anywhere else is beautiful. Oh my God,
Say no.
What part of New Jersey, though? Was it the southern part or the northern part?
Well, I grew up Princeton, New Jersey.
Okay.
There is a Housewives of New Jersey.
Like, which character would you be on Jersey Shore?
Question.
Is my question.
What's really funny is my parents are now at the Jersey Shore and they go to the same gym as the situation.
Oh, really?
Do they?
So
Wow.
There's my 72-year-old mother on the treadmill next to Snooki.
She's living GTL, living that life.
You got some street cred.
Wow. Okay, so you left New Jersey, saw Lake Tahoe, like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Well, I was living in New York City, actually, and I was vacationing in Tahoe, and then I would fly back to Newark and get in a really stinky cab back to my overpriced apartment that I would walk 4 flights up for, and I thought, I wish I would live in Lake Tahoe one day, but no one actually lives in Lake Tahoe. And then, 2003, we were like, you know what, let's just give it a shot, let's go. And it turns out 40,000 people live in Lake Tahoe.
Who are these people?
Yeah.
Well, that's how GTL got started, Jim Tahoe Laundry. Most people don't know. That's true. Don't look it up.
Yeah, depending on the season, it's 40,000 or 50,000 or 4,000.
Oh, well, so 40,000 full-time, like
Oh, okay.
20 million on Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
That's
yeah, exactly. We make up like 5 million people.
We're 5 million and one. You
We're
know?
5 million deep.
So I was working in renewable energy,
Yeah.
which was
okay.
great,
Interesting,
but I was traveling a ton because we had projects all over the U.S. and
Yeah.
Canada. And a friend of mine was helping the Tahoe Fund get started, and she said, "Hey, you want to run a nonprofit?" And I said, "I don't know, what is this thing?" And she sent me their brand new website, and I looked at it, and I said, "Yeah, I'm in. I know nothing about running a nonprofit, but I want to figure this out because awesome mission, amazing board of directors."
Yeah.
And I mean, who doesn't want to spend all of their time trying to make a place like Tahoe even better?
Yeah, yeah.
We should get into nonprofit. I mean,
Yeah.
basically, we're already doing it. We're comedians.
You're so knowledgeable.
Yeah. You are a
You're
comedian.
super knowledgeable. Amy, what I'm hearing is,
Exclusively non.
what I'm hearing is that Amy is very knowledgeable about nonprofit organizations like Tahoe, national parks in general. So I guess my first question for you, for everybody in the room, is can you get me any discounts on any ski resorts?
Are they going to ask when she's going to donate to our cause?
Well, I will tell you guys, it's a good 2016. So we're working with scientists at UC Davis to collect pine cones from sugar pine trees from 100 different healthy sugar pine trees, and then they're going to grow 10,000 seedlings.
Wow.
And then they're going to replant these seedlings in the hardest hit areas. And what's really cool is 6,000 go to all the public agencies because they're kind of the experts, they know where to put them. And 4,000 seedlings go to private homeowners. So if you lost a beautiful sugar pine tree in your yard, you can
Start planting trees out in Lake Tahoe. That's
10,000 seedlings. I've never heard that word before, seedlings.
Seedlings you have?
I've never seen
I feel someone might call you a seedling.
maybe I've been told that in another language.
I went out to watch him
Not seedling.
get the pine cones out of the trees last Friday, and they use this thing, kind of like an old water winger. It's called the Big Shot Launcher. It has like a hacky sack on the end, and they pull it back, and they fire this string over the edge of the bush, or over the edge of the tree limb, 100 feet in the air. Then they shake it until the sugar pine cone falls off.
So they shoot the seeds and give them.
I felt like I was
Sounds
in
very-
like
They
a,
shoot the seed and then they shake it like a Polaroid picture.
You
Yeah.
piqued Justin's interest.
I did not do in vitro for my daughter, but I felt like I was getting a whole in vitro
Okay.
lesson listening to them talk about seeds. and-
Wow, and just, having some
Florentine
dude
vinegar.
in there. Okay, are we ready for our first question?
Yeah, I think so.
Are you guys ready for your first question tonight?
Yep.
We got some great Tahoe swag you can win. So let's start here. Whoops. Oh, here it is. Do you want to read these?
Sure. So what direction do you fly if you're traveling from Los Angeles to Tahoe?
That sounds
Losers
pretty
in Lake
obvious.
Tahoe.
What do you think it might be? Okay, we got an answer right here. What do you think?
You're gonna fly north, but you're also gonna fly east. Or west, I'm sorry, west.
Is that correct? What do you think, Amy?
So you're going to fly west from LA to Tahoe?
Yeah.
Okay, so north and west. Is that yes or no?
That is correct.
All right. Eureka, come on down. Sweet. And so comedians, pick out some sweet Tahoe swag.
Don't look.
And what's your name?
My name is Michael.
All right, you want to fix the audience? How was Michael's backside? Was it nice? You enjoy it? Yeah. Do you squats, Michael?
Lunches, I do lunches.
Lunches, that's very good. You been to Lake Tahoe?
I have.
Okay. When was the last time?
Not that one.
Last December.
Sweet. What did you do there?
Gamble.
You gambled. Okay. That's a thing to do.
And skied, and skied.
Did you win money?
I did. Yeah, I did.
Really? How much?
Like $10, yeah.
$10. All right. Join this guy. All right. What did
You drink coffee.
he drinks coffee? What did he win?
Well, we know that there's never any turbulence on a plane, so we got you this cool cup that you can use in first class.
Look at this. This is Tahoe Tessie,
Yeah.
the original Lake Tahoe monster. Times like this were made for Tahoe. There you go, your Lake Tessie mug. Give it a round of applause.
Congratulations. That's not microwavable, by the way. Be careful.
Yeah, actually, you might want to just.
Actually, you might just want to throw it
I'll
away. I
take
think it's
it.
lead poison, but
North and west.
Just kidding. Drink all of your fresh water from there.
So it doesn't take 13 hours to get to Lake Tahoe by flight. How long does it take from LA to?
It's about 40 minutes. From
40
LA.
minutes.
I'm sorry, this is too real. Grey's Anatomy.
It's a bit of a mind bender for most folks to realize that Tahoe is actually further west than Los Angeles is. So.
That is.
They assume because it's on the border of Nevada that it's east.
Yeah. So Lake Tahoe is actually split. It has Nevada and California, as most of you probably know. It's 2/3 California, 1/3 Nevada.
That's right.
And there's North Lake Tahoe.
We lost at the 2/3 Nevada side.
It's 2/3 and one. Yeah.
We'll give you the math questions
And
later.
there is only gaming on the Nevada side. So what really exploded the population of Lake Tahoe was 1960. Squaw Valley hosted the Olympics. Probably a lot of you know that. And Tahoe had been popular before that, but then things really exploded. And then gaming came on the scene.
Really?
And it used to be there were only 3 places in the entire country you could gamble. It was Las Vegas, Atlantic City, and Lake Tahoe.
Wow.
And so for years, the economy of Lake Tahoe was driven, even as beautiful it is, was driven by the gaming.
By $10.
What happens in Tahoe stays in Tahoe, except for that month. That's all I gotta say.
Hey, you came out ahead.
You great for the experience.
That's
Like,
exactly
I
correct.
came out ahead.
You came out ahead then. Well, how much did you actually gamble?
It was like $200.
Okay.
This is actually an intervention for you. Whoever wants to talk to you.
There's an address and phone
So,
number
out
that
of,
cuts
so,
it away.
so now out of tourism in Lake Tahoe, like how much is that you think just gambling related?
So gambling has really been in decline for quite a while, especially with Indian gaming casinos in California. You don't have to drive over the pass anymore to get to gamble. So it's been a huge transformation in Tahoe Basin. Economically, it was really hard at first. I think we lost 10,000 full-time residents as the gaming industry really was in decline. But the exciting part is that now the casino industries understand that the only real differentiation for them is that they're right outside Lake Tahoe. So we're helping build trails right outside of casino doors. So
You can go backpacking to the roulette table? Is that how that works? 5 miles till I lose everything on my back.
Poker trailhead this way.
But it used to be, you know, if you went to a casino, they never wanted you to leave, and now they realize you're going to go out, you're going to go hiking, you're going to go mountain biking, you're going to skiing for the day, you'll come back afterwards, and then you'll gamble.
Okay, that's cool. Who here has gambled in Lake Tahoe? Make some noise. Woo! All right, have you guys gambled in?
Is that the same thing as Reno? No.
No, so funny enough,
How far is Reno?
like
Making
you
it without
fly
gas
to Tahoe, you actually fly to the Reno Tahoe Airport. It's
You
about
fly right into the casino.
You just fly right into meth.
Yeah.
When you fly into Reno.
Plenty of recreational
That's not
activities in Lake
Reno.
Tahoe.
Not the right kind of Reno.
She's coming down.
So
It's okay.
is now the main driver just recreation and hiking? Is that the main driver?
yeah,
of
outdoor
tourism?
recreation. There's a $5 billion economy in Lake Tahoe from outdoor
For walking?
recreation.
Wow, for walking alone. For
what?
walking.
Walking alone?
Walking? Is that,
That's a business?
have you ever hiked before?
What is, no.
Okay.
She's
Not
taking
in
a
those
hike.
shoes.
Not in those shoes, no. All right, let's go to the next question. Here we go.
Okay.
How deep is your love?
Here we go. See if we can get through this tonight.
How deep is Lake Tahoe?
How deep is Lake Tahoe? Anybody want to?
Metaphorically.
Like President
Not
Nixon.
metaphorically.
Just kidding.
You don't have to look into Justin's eyes to figure out how deep it is.
How deep is it?
Anybody have? Yeah, give a guess. Okay, over
I'm
here.
gonna guess
All
one president.
right, what do you think?
You can't look at 1,000 feet.
5,000 feet.
No.
Not 5,000.
Oh,
Okay. Okay. Here we go. All right, what do you think? 1,400
On to the next one.
1,400 feet. Is that
Closer.
closer?
No.
Anybody okay? Realtors, come back to you. You probably have the answer. Let's see what do you think.
You can't just guess them.
1,600.
Close.
Should we give it?
Yeah, close enough.
Is that close enough? Okay. Eureka! Come on up. All right. So how deep is it?
It is 1,645 feet deep in the deepest part.
Oh wow, you're 45 feet off. That's excellent. And now, you've been to Lake Tahoe, I assume?
Yep.
When was the last time?
A couple of years ago.
Okay, and what did you do? Were you more gambling? Were you hiking?
Just visiting, hanging out, beach.
Just beach, okay. All right, just hanging out, getting a tan. What are you gonna give him? He likes to tan. No, I'm making that up. You probably don't like to tan, do you? Okay. Are you more like on the hiking side, the skiing side?
I'm trying to remember.
He's on the drug side. Give him some drugs. You can't recall anything about
You know, people with drugs love to do colors.
Oh, wow. What is this?
Yeah.
These are Lake Tahoe. Hold these up here. These are Lake Tahoe coloring books with this Tessie. We're going to have to find out.
Tahoe Tessie's like
Tahoe Tessie.
the adventure.
Tahoe Tessie.
Oh, right. Do you have any kids?
Nope.
All right. You should do this on your own.
But kids shouldn't do drugs either.
Maybe on the Muni while going to work. Give him a round of applause.
That's just the cover, by the way. It's actually a self-help book.
Yeah,
so
actually
you open
don't
it.
do drugs, so
Okay.
we're all about recovery.
How to
here.
get off meth again.
Yeah.
So we're totally blown away. It's 1645 feet. That's pretty deep.
Yeah, you can stand up the entire Empire State Building and not see it.
And not see it, okay. How does that compare to other lakes in the
So
U.S.?
it's the second deepest lake in the U.S. Crater Lake is slightly, I think, 400 feet deeper.
Okay.
Or 300 feet deeper. And the deepest part of Lake Tahoe is right off of the Calneva, talking about casino. So that's on the North Shore, right at the border of California and Nevada. That's where they got the name, Calneva. That was Frank
there we
Sinatra.
go.
Workshop that?
Someone's super creative.
Calneva.
Californiata.
So the average depth is about 1,000 feet.
Okay.
You know the deepest part of Lake Tahoe? Our hearts.
Oh, that's very sweet. Now who is it? Who is
Don't
this?
move me, you're mathematics.
So our next question.
No, look.
Third
Does
Yeah.
Tahoe Tessie live down there? Is that a marketing tool? This like Loch Ness version of Lake
Tahoe Tessie
Tahoe?
is a legend of Lake Tahoe.
Okay.
And I think only a couple people have actually seen her swimming around.
Oh.
She's looking at me when she says it, like, no, I've never seen it, but okay, thanks. I do drugs, but not that many that I would see fucking.
So,
Tahoe.
I call them Tahoe. I saw testicle Tahoe.
I thought that's
that's not Tahoe.
Tahoe testicle, not Tahoe testicle.
How deep in the water was that?
It was balls deep.
Okay.
That's what it was.
Don't feed the fishes, Justin.
I never do.
Okay.
So there's actually varying depths of Lake Tahoe. So the deepest point, 1645, the average is 1,000. And then if you go on the west shore, it's a little bit more shallow because part of the west shore, like 40,000 years ago, fell into the lake and kind of crumbled down. And it set off a 30-foot high tsunami.
Wow.
And there are thoughts that maybe that could happen again today.
Oh, well, what part of Lake Tahoe might crumble into itself?
Well, the part that fell off on the western edge, there's still more that could.
The west part of Tahoe is so shallow, it's like so into itself. It's like West Tahoe. Oh my god, it's like just so in love with myself.
I just
Enthralled with myself. It's so the best.
Lake Shore.
Sorry, guys. Let's ask an actual question. Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
It's Lake Tahoe. It's a natural. Is it a nat? I wonder what.
It's a man-made?
No, it's
Oh,
not a
my
man-made
God.
lake.
Yeah.
But I know that Crater Lake
it
was.
woman-made?
No,
Sorry.
Crater Lake was originally like a volcano. Is that the kind of what's happening with Lake Tahoe as well?
I cannot answer that question until.
Oh, that's actually you're getting ahead of ourselves. That should be a.
Sorry, I didn't get.
You're ruining everything.
Okay, but one question is, what great of a chance is it that part of Lake Tahoe might fall in? Is that
90%.
90%? Oh, Eureka!
What?
Unknown. I don't think people are losing sleep at night, but there is a lot of.
That was a joke, Justin. We're just.
Oh,
Yeah. You can come back.
sorry.
Sit down.
Sit down.
No, I just wanted to put something.
Now, what's at the bottom of Lake Tahoe? I read
Everybody's
this.
sunglasses ever.
That's probably true.
A lot of Varnays.
I read this one, I guess it's a myth that like Jacques Cousteau supposedly went down to the bottom of Lake Tahoe.
From the beach.
And they asked him what was there, and he says, man, like, humankind is not ready to see what's at the bottom of Lake Tahoe.
Nuh-uh.
I'm paraphrasing that, and he actually wasn't there, but supposedly that was a myth. I don't know, I read it.
Like you stop
I
from
heard
being
the
a beach.
exact same.
I heard it because it's very cold, that bodies take less time to decompose.
Oh.
Yeah, so in Lake Tahoe, who swam in the lake? Anyone? Did anyone swim in the lake this summer? It was the warmest surface temperature we've ever seen in Tahoe. But what's interesting is only the first 4 to 6 feet warm up, and below that, The water never warms up, so the average temperature is in the 40s. It doesn't freeze; it's too deep to freeze.
So if you're a basketball player, your toes get really cold.
Yeah, everybody swims completely lying on their tummies.
Hey,
Everyone was
sporty pants
thinking
over
it
there.
if you're like 6'1", so they're.
Well, do you think they're like, bodies the mafia's dumped in Lake Tahoe? That might be the
Yeah, I
story.
saw The Godfather. We all know that
Yeah.
Alice is the Tahoe.
So do you
I
know-
saw Avatar. How
Does
many
everyone know the giant flaw in The Godfather too?
No?
So the Corleones lived in Lake Tahoe, but they lived on the California side. At least where they filmed it was on the California side.
Eagle eye right
They were
there.
claiming like it was Nevada.
That's why they all died at
Well,
the
they
end.
said it was the Nevada side, but
So has the depth, the water volume of Lake Tahoe remained fairly consistent throughout its existence, or is it?
no, it's they have evidence that it was 50 feet higher than it is now,
Okay.
thousands of years ago.
Okay.
And if everybody's been up there over the last few years, you'll notice a year ago the lake was about a foot below what's called the natural rim of 6,223 feet. We just had so much drought that we didn't have the snowpack melt into the lake to drain out at the Tahoe City Dam. And then last winter was so huge, the lake has risen.
How huge was it?
The lake has risen 6 feet.
Wow.
So this time last year, there were piers, a couple hundred yards out, completely dry, and now they're totally full of water.
And how many rivers feed into Lake Tahoe?
63 tributaries lead into the lake, but only one leaves, and that's in Tahoe City at the
Like my
Truckee River.
ass.
Oh, jeez. Like your ass? Is that what you said?
Yeah, totally. No,
I heard
lady.
I thought you said like my eggs.
I was like, wow, you're
Only monthly,
They're
just.
beneath 6 feet, so they're
They're
frozen.
like 6 feet under Lake Tahoe.
it's getting raunchy. I'm sorry. So which river then is the?
That's my friend.
Hey girl, come on in. You're just missing
So
our
the-
We're talking about tributaries into Lake
The-
Tahoe.
7:30.
Figuratively
The
speaking.
Truckee River is the only way out.
Okay.
It goes a little bit through California, and then it's all in Nevada, and it empties out at Pyramid Lake.
Okay.
So it's one of the only major lakes that doesn't empty into an ocean. It
Oh,
empties
okay.
into an interior body of water.
Wow. Okay.
That's fascinating.
And then it just stays in Pyramid Lake.
No, actually, it really is
Stays in
to me
the-
anyway.
Wow. That's like unborn twin brother just kind of connected to Lake Tahoe, just kind of hanging out.
Well, I see people all the time in the airplane. They look out the window and they say, "Oh my God, it's Lake Tahoe!" Except it's Pyramid Lake.
Oh.
Idiot.
And how far?
Fuck it.
How far does the river travel to get to Pyramid Lake?
Oh, that's a good question. A little over 100 miles.
Okay. Interesting.
How many 100 miles? What the
Over 100 miles.
Over 100.
Exactly
Wow.
one.
How many 100 miles? 100 miles. Oh my God.
And is there aquatic life at the very bottom of Lake Tahoe?
Not too much at the very bottom. It's just too cold and dark.
Okay.
down
What
there
is
for
dead
much
may
to
never
live.
die? Sorry.
Winter is coming.
Okay.
But if you ever go fishing in Lake Tahoe, I don't recommend it unless you like getting up really early in the morning. But you drop your hook down, 1,000 feet, and there's trout down there, Mackinac
wow.
trout, and then they pull them up really slowly. I've heard it's like pulling a tire out of the lake, and then you pull it up, and it's this enormous fish, and its belly is all bloated because it gets the bends on the way
Oh
out.
my God.
And so the
Mercedes
captain
Benz,
will
for those
poke a
delicious
little
bends.
pin in the belly, and then it'll deflate
Deflate
the
it?
fish.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then you
Anybody
take it home and
hungry?
have dinner.
Wow.
Wait, so I want to know a little bit more about Tahoe Tessie. What did the witnesses say about her?
I can't really say.
Oh.
Wait, when was the first
She signed a non-disclosure agreement.
sighting of Tahoe Tessie?
I could not find the answer to that. I looked it up. It was.
Are we talking like the 60s, the
I'm thinking it
70s?
feels. Did you look at the
Jesus,
cover?
Yeah, I saw.
it
It
was
looks like it's.
Yeah.
And do you know where it was seen?
I don't think they were allowed to divulge that information.
Wow.
Is there a
Okay.
jingle about
Need
her?
to know
Does
basis.
she drive a Tesla?
We're getting witty here. Okay, let's go to the next question, shall we? Here we go.
Okay, how clear is Lake Tahoe?
Okay, how far can we see
How far
down?
can you see down in Lake Tahoe?
Okay, how far can you see down to Lake Tahoe? All right, what do you think?
100 feet.
100 feet?
No.
No. All right, what do we got here? 25? 25?
Nope.
One whole
No.
basketball.
Okay, someone who hasn't answered yet. This one's okay. You haven't answered yet. 150? 150?
No.
No. Okay, what do we got? 63.
That's pretty close.
69.
That's close, yeah.
63 what?
We'll call it.
Call it? Okay.
Yeah.
We'll call it 63. Come on down. So what's the answer?
So the answer is closer to 70 feet.
Closer to 70 feet.
63 feet is actually the worst clarity number that we've seen in about the last 20
Really?
years. It bounces around every year. The best we've seen is close to 80 feet.
80 feet, all right. Hello, what's your name?
Bob.
Bob, all right, face the audience.
All right, everybody.
Hey, and have you swam in Lake Tahoe before?
Yes.
Have you looked down?
Yes.
What a stupid question. Have you ever looked down in your life?
I can see my feet.
Can you see your feet? That's
I don't go
amazing.
60 feet.
You don't go 60. Do you dive at all?
No.
Nothing. But you haven't played out in the water or swam in the water?
Okay, yes.
That's amazing. Okay.
Water skiing there.
When was the first time you went to Lake Tahoe?
1950s.
Wow, that's a big. Is there a big difference between the clarity in 1950 and now?
Yeah, there sure is.
Okay, so your childhood was better. Like,
Yeah, right.
that's the answer. What prize are we? Yeah.
Bob, we got you these two.
Oh my gosh! It's a pine cone. Public.
And because it was clear back then, but it's not so much as right now. So you're like, is that like a proper way to do it?
Second.
Yeah, so
Second.
we have over 100 years of lake clarity data. Now it's a little bit more scientific than it used to be, or a little more measured, exact. But every year, all throughout the year, they drop the disc in and they see what the average readings are. And so it used to be 125 feet deep, so I can't remember who answered that.
Yeah, Bob there.
You would have been right 50 years ago. But then every year,
50
we
years
saw a foot of clarity loss every single year.
Are
until
we
got
sure that
to the
the
60s.
guy's eyesight didn't just go
Yeah.
Well, when
every
he died,
year? It was like the
eyeballs-
same
It's the same dude. It's the same. He's 200 years old.
You lost your lymphoma.
I can't see anything!
I'm gonna guess 70.
Lake Tahoe, shit now!
Yeah, like did he have his glasses on? Did he have...
Dorothy!
So Lake Clarity is kind of the clarion call for Tahoe's health. So in the 1990s, everybody was noticing we were losing a foot of clarity every year, wondering what are we going to do about it. And so Bill Clinton, the president at the time, and Al Gore, I think he had already invented the super high
The internet, yeah.
They came out to Tahoe, and 80% of the land in Tahoe is actually owned by the federal government. And so for the first time, they said, okay, we got to do something about this. We cannot lose this masterpiece, environmental masterpiece, but also economic, $5 billion economy. And so they committed hundreds of millions of dollars of federal funding. California kicked in and Nevada kicked in. And so since then, we've had over $1 billion of public funding to help with things that are going to help restore lake clarity.
So what are they doing? What are some of the ways?
I don't think I can answer
Oh, okay,
that.
that's
the next
better.
question.
Future question. Okay.
We're just adding more water in.
But one question then is that, so has the lake clarity really gone down since the 90s? Is that like the
good
tipping
news is
point?
it's maintaining. So if you look at the chart, kind of like that second disc creeps up every year, and then it just flatlines. Unfortunately, in 2016 though, the winter clarity was up in the 80s. Amazing. The summer clarity was down as low as sometimes in the 50s during the readings. So they attribute that to climate change, the
Okay.
warming waters, the drought. It's allowing these little zooplankton to show up in the lake that aren't usually there, and they are including Lake Clarity.
We're sure it's not because people are peeing in the lake.
Yeah, are we sure? Or like pooing.
Oh no, we think everyone's peeing in the lake. I hope they're not pooing.
I hope so too.
You took it too far.
No, I'm not. It's a natural thing.
Have you ever urinated in a body of water?
I have.
Okay. Don't know how. I don't know if we want to go down that rabbit tunnel there.
Next question.
See, next question. But so algae is one of the causes, and because of global warming, changes in the climate, they're able to grow for a longer period of time, perhaps? Is that?
Yeah, I mean, different creatures are showing up that we're not used to seeing because the shoreline, the surface area, that top 4 to 6 feet is just getting a lot warmer than it ever
I
has been.
see. All right, there's some floating dookie in there. Okay.
Floating turds.
Different creatures, like, have you seen it?
Tahoe turd is what we call them. Tahoe turdy. Tahoe turd. Anyway.
Let's go to the next question.
All right, so
This-
following up on that, what is the #1 source of lake clarity loss?
Okay, what's causing it?
I already said urine.
Okay, so
feces.
it's probably not
Put your hand
the...
down, sir. I know you're talking about
If
shit.
you answer as Justin's fecal matter, you're correct. You don't want the prize though. Okay.
Algae?
Algae, is it?
Close.
Close, but not it. We kind of give it away then. Okay, over here.
Eyeglass
That was my
prescription.
answer earlier.
Silk runoff from
Silt?
Ding,
Silk?
ding. We have
Nope, runoff. Is that it? Yes. Eureka, come on down.
Spider
Yes.
Who's silk?
What do we have here?
We actually refer to it as fine sediment, but
Fine
it's more or
sediment.
less the fine dirt that runs off of the roadways and off of the impaired watersheds. So I'll tell
There
you
it
more
is.
after.
Okay, yes. Welcome. What is your name?
Carla.
Carla, okay.
Hi, Carla. Welcome.
You can do not be afraid. When was the last time you were at Lake Tahoe?
3 weeks ago.
Oh, wow. Okay, what were you doing there?
Staying at our house.
Oh, very nice. You live there. Okay, great.
Yeah, it is. She deserves
We
it.
have a house there and we go and visit often.
Okay, do you think you could maybe contribute to any of the sediment going into Lake Tahoe?
We try not to because we have 2 creeks that converge on our land and we're very careful.
You got land in Tahoe? What's
Everything,
up? Airbnb?
Don't invite her.
Put the price back, give her a cheap one. It's too expensive.
To keep the silt from running into
Okay.
these creeks.
Oh, so you're conscientious of that fact.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay.
How much
And-
silt?
That's very good.
No.
Yeah.
You know.
What does Carlotta, the conscientious Lake Tahoe resident, win?
She wins.
She wins a silk hat.
Oh, right.
Isn't don't you love
Don't
it?
you love it?
Are you not
That looks amazing. Round of applause for Carlotta, everybody.
We won, okay? Honestly, we won. You keep that hat on.
Do you garden, Carla?
You should.
Do you garden?
Do you garden?
Garden.
Do you garden?
You garden? Yeah, you told me to use it for gardening.
Oh, absolutely.
He's here to help.
We know she gardens.
I
She
know.
knows about sediment.
I know.
I heard
She knows
silk.
about silk.
I heard
She knows about
silk.
sediment.
Yeah, she knows.
Silt.
Walking on the wonderful trails that are there.
Oh,
This is true. They're not trying to get that dirt into the lake.
So the reason fine sediment is an issue because if it was not fine, it was heavy sediment, it would just sink to the bottom. But the fine sediment floats around on the top, and then when the lake mixes, it gets really murky and yucky. And the fine sediment comes from a couple things. One, who's driven around Tahoe in the winter during a snowstorm? We have to
I
put
hear that sign. Look.
users.
Yeah.
We don't put salt
Designated driver.
on the roads anymore, but we do have to put things on the road to keep people on the roads and not sliding off. So imagine all the dirt we put on the roads, and then the snow melts and everything runs off into the lake.
We could just put Justin on the road because he's salty enough.
Yeah, that's true.
and I'm hard as a rock too, so.
All that-
The other
Right for parties.
All that runoff talk. Okay.
The other issue is we've had, over 100 years of some pretty poor development decisions in Tahoe.
Like what?
Starting in the 1850s, has everybody heard of the
What, you mean skeptical about this? You know
Wait a
nothing
minute,
about
it
it
sounds like
yet.
it's man-made then. We can prevent that from happening?
Yeah.
We're
Just have
making the
more
lake
women.
less clear.
Just have more women. That is the
Is
answer.
this
Don't try is
primarily
the answer.
human-made, or
Yeah, I mean, the issues do come from humans. So in the 1850s, when they were pulling the equivalent of $5 billion worth of silver, today's equivalent, out of Virginia City, they chopped down every single tree in Lake Tahoe to feed the mining business.
wow?
How are they eating trees? Wait, what? Sorry.
They were using the trees to fuel all of the machinery to get
Right.
silver.
And then eating them.
Not the people.
And then they were eating them. So
They say deforested.
they deforested the entire basin. So then everything grew back pretty unhealthy. And then in the 1960s, when the Olympics showed up, people just were like, oh my God, this place is the most amazing thing. It's nirvana. Let's just start putting up houses everywhere. And they took out some of the biggest, most important watersheds in the entire Sierra.
Thanks, Michelle Kwan.
Was she in the?
Nancy Kerrigan.
She have,
You have no idea. I don't think she was in that squad.
she was born in 1960.
Yeah, that's like. How many Olympic
She's squat.
athletes do you know? Okay.
So part of the issue is that, does everyone know how a watershed works? It's more or less a sponge. So as water is running with mucky stuff on its way into the lake, it gets to a marsh, and the watershed, or the marsh, collects all of that dirt, and then the water runs cleanly into Lake Tahoe or to anywhere. So in South Lake Tahoe, we have something called the Tahoe Keys that went in. They wiped out the biggest natural marsh in the entire Sierra, putting that in, and so now they have canals and paved roads, and instead of this sponge, everything just shoots right into the lake. And so we have that in a couple areas around Tahoe. So the number one way that we're fixing that is the money that we got from the federal government I was talking about. It's really sexy. Storm drains, sewers, and sidewalks. So
hot right now.
Storm drains?
you don't get to see them very much, but there are these enormous vaults under the roads all around the lake, and they're capturing that fine sediment before it can get to the lake. So kind of rinses the water. The water goes into the lake nice and clean and leaves the sediment.
And so how successful has that been then in reducing?
We think that's probably the number one reason why. So the tanks and the stormwater management projects, and then a lot of watershed restoration projects. Has anyone ever climbed up Eagle Rock on the West Shore? It's that rock that kind of leans over 89. So right next to that is Blackwood Creek, and that was restored a few years ago, and that was a huge pollutant of sediment. What happens is there used to be a gravel mine up there, and so they rerouted the river to get away from their gravel mining business. And rivers really like to meander so that the water can slowly go through. And when you redo a river and you straighten it, the water just shoots through. It grabs the sides of the river, and all of that dirt that it's pulling off the sides of the river ends up in the lake. And it just looks like a muddy mess at the bottom.
So how many watersheds are or were there, at least originally, in Lake Tahoe?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know the answer. I'll have to look that one up.
Okay, how many are there now?
Well, watersheds?
Yeah.
Well, Lake Tahoe Basin is one big watershed.
Okay.
But then there's a few different marshes and sort of minor watersheds. The biggest one is called the Upper Truckee River. So that one is in South Lake Tahoe. And it's the number one source of fine sediment flowing into the lake from a watershed. And actually the Tahoe Fund is working with the state of California right now to buy 200 acres of private property there that has the Upper Truckee River flowing through it. And once we can purchase it, put it in public hands, then we can actually restore that part of the river.
Marsha.
So, I'm sorry, that's sediment is the first one. Marsha. Anyway, so, what's the second cause? Well, because a gentleman mentioned algae.
Yeah, so algae. So phosphorus and nitrogen get into the lake. Phosphorus really comes from people putting fertilizer on their lawns with phosphorus. So if anyone has lawns, you can actually buy phosphorus-free fertilizer. Highly recommend it.
We've got a house here. Sorry.
Okay, for all of you
I'm sure all
homeowners
you
in Lake
San
Tahoe.
Franciscans, get your phosphorus-free fertilizer.
You don't do it everywhere because
There's
phosphorus is
natural
great.
phosphorus.
Carla, did you hear that?
There's natural phosphorus sediments on the sidewalks here. Does that count? Or
Organic. Okay, so that comes from fertilizer.
Yeah, and also from warm water. So you get that mixture of warm water, you get the nutrients that are coming when the sediment flows into the lake. It doesn't just make it dirty, it carries nutrients with it. So those nutrients include nitrogen and phosphorus, and they get into the water, they warm up, the rocks get kind of slimy and covered in algae.
Okay. Is it the rock sliminess is caused by that, or just by the algae then?
Yeah, both actually.
So,
yeah.
Does it have to do with water temperature as well, Amy?
Yeah, so the
Water
warmer
temperature
it
changed
is, the
since the last
more
decade.
apt you are to have algae growing.
And do you
I'm
have
really good.
All right.
do you have a timeline, like what you want to see in terms of clarity, in terms of reducing the sediment, the fine sediment?
Yeah, so there's something called a TMDL, total maximum daily load. So the public
Take that and use that at home with you. TMDL, he's got a TMDL issue right here. He's reached his total maximum daily load.
Total what? Maximum daily load?
I knew I would, daily, let's call
If you remember anything from this show.
It's TMDL.
So that's how much dirt is allowed to flow into the lake. And so each, so they don't make individual homeowners have it, but commercial properties and public agencies that are managing smaller watersheds within the bigger watershed, they have a set amount that they're allowed to let in. And they had a 5-year goal, and I believe they just announced they met their 5-year goal, and they eliminated over 12 dump trucks full of sediment from flowing into the lake.
All right.
With all these projects.
Success. That's excellent.
Success.
We're getting there.
Progress.
Progress. All right. And
Baby
now
steps, baby.
to the next question.
Okay, so
All
how
right.
much water is in Lake Tahoe?
All right, that's
All
very
of it.
basic. Oh, you're quick. So how much
As much
is in Lake Tahoe? Anyone want to guess? Anybody? Lake Tahoe. How much water?
In the measurement of cups.
Probably more than 5 gallons. Okay. All right. What do we have? What do you think?
120 million acre feet.
120 million. Is that the right units to be using?
We're looking for gallons.
Gallons.
Put that in gallons.
What's an acre?
He's a realtor. He's a realtor. He needs to look into
Is this your husband?
Yes, he's a
Is this your
realtor.
boyfriend? Yeah, you need to leave. And
How else does he measure
fucking
stuff?
rescue yourself.
Who measures an acre feet?
Water.
Acre feet? Is that true? Acre? I've never heard of the measurement.
Oh.
We're looking for gallons.
Gallons. We're not as advanced as you. Oh, we have a guess up here?
Okay, but that's not the right answer, sir.
20 billion gallons.
That's close.
Close? Anybody want to give another shot?
21 billion.
20.5.
20 billion gallons. Any other guesses? Or
Let's give it to her. Close enough.
that's it? Close enough?
Yes,
Eureka!
that's it.
Come on now. Woo! So what is the answer? Oh,
There's actually 39 trillion gallons of water.
wow. Look at that. Water is the essence of wetness, and wetness is the essence of beauty. All right, what is your name? Elizabeth. Okay. And are you from the Lake Tahoe area?
No.
When was the last time you visited?
Sunday.
Oh, damn. Okay. What'd you do?
Just swimming.
Swimming. Okay. Nice.
Oh my god. Oh, that's
Is
good.
your
Elizabeth, you win a dildo.
Whoa.
Congratulations.
Aside from that,
It's measured in cubic. What?
Feet acres or something.
that alternative use. What? This is a water bottle. Or?
This is a water bottle from Tahoe, Nevada.
Oh my god.
Oh, very sweet.
We saw the ridges. Sorry.
Okay.
A new logo.
Well, you can use this any way you want. No judgment, San Francisco. Round of applause.
I love your shirt, by the way, Elizabeth. That's beautiful.
Not
You
very
didn't hear me.
red.
Yeah, so 39 trillion gallons is a lot of water. To put it in perspective, what just happened with Hurricane Harvey, they had over, I think, 23 trillion gallons of water fall in 4 days in Houston. So
Wow. Okay. The equivalent of Lake Tahoe.
pretty crazy. Yeah, so you can pour Lake Tahoe out and cover the state of California in over a foot of water.
Or like an acre foot.
Okay,
Yeah,
time
just
has passed,
don't get
sir.
All right, we're a galleon.
I get it.
So every inch of water, so if you're following lake levels, an inch of water is 3.33 billion gallons of
Really?
water.
Okay. For
So
Lake Tahoe.
in February this year, as the snow was melting, the lake rose an entire foot in just a week. So
Did that cause flooding?
no flooding, but over 20 billion gallons of water was added
Wow.
in just a week.
And it's no flooding because it has a river to flow out.
How did your daily load go? You did
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah, we timed it.
Was it 39 trillion gallons? That's what.
How many cubic? What is it?
So I was saying earlier that the lake rose 6 feet, so it added over 200 billion gallons of water to
Wow.
Tahoe. And there is, I was mentioning, there's one outlet out, and the Tahoe City Dam is there. And so the water master, he's responsible for keeping the lake below 6229.1
water
feet.
master?
He's the like the gatekeeper, the water
He
master.
wears a wizard hat. He's pretty cool.
Have you do that?
The water master.
You shall not pass.
So he has to figure out when to let water out, how much to let out. If he lets out a ton of water, then the guys downstream could get flooded. But he can't let the lake go over 6229.1. Or actually he can. I called him and I said, what happens if it
Yeah.
goes over the limit? And he said, Amy, it goes over the limit.
Oh, wow. He doesn't
That's
care.
big.
He's giving up on life.
Wait, how much does that guy get paid? That sounds like a really funny
They're
responsible
managing it, and so we held a contest with the Tahoe Fund. We watched it really closely. We held a contest. We were going to win all sorts of bragging rights and swag if you guessed the day that it went over the limit. And
Okay.
so 6229.1 is the limit. The water master kept it at 6229.01.
Oh, wow.
What a day! No one won the prize.
How
No
does
one won
he?
bragging rights.
How does he measure that? How does he determine? There's this, I guess, instruments that
Swims in
determine
every
the.
day.
So we talked about the 63 tributaries that flow into the lake. So they have forecasts that go on all year long, watching the flow rate, trying to predict how much water is going to come into the lake. Because at some point in 1997 there was a huge flood. Just too much water hit Tahoe. They had to open the dams. The Truckee River completely flooded, and everybody was asking, well, how did that happen? And he said, I think 100,000 gallons of water a day was coming into the lake, and he could only let out 2,500. So the gates of the dam are like a little pinprick in the balloon.
Wow. Nailed ya.
We hardly know these.
Seedling.
Keeper of the dam.
Little pinprick right there. Okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
it's a science for sure.
Right.
Or, art, I guess.
But in general, it's not much of an issue of overflowing and flooding then.
No, certain times of the year it becomes more of an issue. Usually May, June is when you see the biggest spikes of snow melt. And then, interestingly enough, over 4 feet of water evaporates off the surface of the lake during the year. And September is the month where the most evaporates. Almost an entire foot will evaporate in the month of
Tells
September.
why.
Kind of when it's cold, you know, just
Where did it go? Shrinkage.
Shrinkage.
Well, you're at 6,000 feet, and then you throw in, so it's very dry climate,
Yeah.
and that blazing hot sun, and it just
Burns away.
burns right off.
All right. Here we go to the next question. Number 6.
Okay, weed is big news in Nevada these days. What kind of weeds are big news in Tahoe?
All right.
big.
Feel free to answer whatever's in your mind. We have something over here. Does it involve acre feet?
It's just, it's a sativa, man.
He grows acre feet of weed out in his backyard. Are you aware of that?
Cheatgrass.
What's it called?
Cheatgrass.
Like Ryan Seacrest.
Cheatgrass?
You know, cheatgrass is an issue because that's what grows up and starts wildfires, but not the answer to this question.
Not the answer to the
There's
question.
bigger
All
weeds.
right. Any other weed-related answers?
Oh.
Don't be. Okay, we got one over here. Okay. What do you think?
Milfoil?
Milfoil.
Yes, Eureka!
Yes, Eureka! Come on down. Come on up. Milfoil.
Isn't that a Harry Potter person? Oh wait, that's Malfoy.
So
No,
we have
oil.
we have something in Tahoe called aquatic invasive weeds.
Wow.
So aquatic, they live in the water. Invasive, they invade. They grow in places they're not supposed to.
All right, so let's give you a prize. I know what you're doing.
So
I'm like a cat.
this is a perfect prize, actually.
Okay, so what is your name?
Thank you.
Janie Friend, pleasure. And have you been to Lake Tahoe recently?
I have.
Are you from there?
No.
Okay. All right, have you noticed the weeds?
Yes.
So what does a milfoil look like?
Milfoil is seaweed that grows in the bottom of marinas, and they have to put mats down to suffocate it from growing because it's causing all kinds of hazards and clarity, and gets caught up in boats, and so.
You're really into milfoil.
I
Then you know your milfoil.
Just into weed.
I
Okay.
Some people are into milfs, other people are into milfoil.
Not milfoil.
Milk.
That's a I won't even say. Okay. So what we have in here, this is for your phone. So if you're going into the water and it is clear, you don't have to worry about the milfoils or the milfs if they're obstructing the clarity.
When you're in the water.
And then
the milfs.
within that as well, you'll see just a tiny little Eureka book. It's very tiny. It's made by our friends at tinypublishings.com, and they make tiny little books. If you visit if you visit their website, they can make you a tiny little book. So it's in there waiting for you to take it into Lake Tahoe. Yes, give her a round of applause.
And actually, that is a goodie bag, a gift from something called Tahoe Keeper. So aquatic invasive weeds have been popping up over the last couple decades, really intensely over the last 10 years, and they're really threatening our shoreline. If you close your eyes and you envision jumping into Lake Tahoe, running down the beach, it's like this beautiful, clear blue water. Well, when the weeds show up, you are wading through sometimes 6 to 8 foot high weeds that don't belong there. Tahoe Keepers is something you can sign up to do if you spend time in Tahoe, and that's really just making sure that when you put your kayak, your stand-up paddleboard in the lake, that you're making sure you're not bringing weeds from the last place you were into Tahoe, and that if you see new instances of weeds, that you're reporting them. So
Report those. And It's be a narc essentially.
Yeah, you
for Lake
can
Tahoe.
be a narc for Lake
We had to
Tahoe.
build a wall.
So these weeds gone to Lake Tahoe because they were brought in, inadvertently on a
Yeah, so
paddleboard.
if you want to put a boat in Lake Tahoe, you have to go to an inspection station first, and that's because what was happening is people were recreating all over in other lakes that had aquatic invasive species, so weeds, Asian clams, and they were coming into Tahoe and they were just bringing these non-native species and ruining Tahoe's clarity. So now you go through the inspection station. If you show up clean, drained, and dry, it's really quick. You can be on your way.
Clean, drained, and dry.
Yep, you don't want any water.
Has anyone ever woke up the next day cleaned, drained, and dry? Okay.
Yes.
And what we're really looking out for are quagga mussels. They have quagga mussels like in Lake Mead. They multiply, one quagga mussel will grow like 10 million other mussels, and they take over. So we don't want to get quagga mussels in Lake Tahoe. So that's
Mussels
really,
and mills go together.
the inspection stations are,
Put them together.
Oh.
What comes together?
Don't put
Don't put
mills
mills and mussels together.
Mills and
no
mussels
mills
together.
and no mussels. So.
And as far as Lake Tahoe goes.
And this year we actually did this really cool project. This guy, when he was in college or got out of college, he was working in caves, and they had algae growing on the wall of the caves. And the guy, his boss came to him and said, "We got to get rid of this algae, but we can't touch the cave walls. We can't use chemicals. We don't know what to do." And he said, "Oh, I worked with UV light in college. I wonder if that would work." So he built this contraption, a backpack, and he rappelled down the cave walls, not touching them, and he used a wand of UV light and was able to kill the algae. So fast forward, he buys a house in Lake Tahoe. Everyone's complaining that there's 8-foot high weeds in the marinas. They don't know what to do with it. And he says, "Oh, I wonder if UV light could work." So he builds this contraption, and we got it, we helped fund it. It was a pilot test this summer, and he lowers an array of UV lights over the weeds and zaps them, basically gives them a sunburn. It ruins their cellular structure. They lose all their oxygen, and they just fall over. So we don't know the long-term impacts of the study yet. It's going to take 2 years, but within 2 weeks, 8-foot high weeds had completely fallen over in the marinas. So
Wow.
pretty
That's how we have Plato's allegory today.
Plato's, wow, you're getting that. Okay.
Cave, man, she's talking about the cave.
Okay, yeah, okay. Shallows in the weeds, okay. I won't follow it too far, but I get you, yeah, okay. All right, next question.
Okay, approximately how many crawdads live in Lake Tahoe?
Okay, just so we know, what is a crawdad?
Crawdad looks like a little mini lobster.
Mini lobsters,
Hello,
crawdads.
crawdads.
How many live in Lake Tahoe?
Oh my.
In square feet, how many live?
We've scared them. They're not
Anybody
even
have an
willing to
We got-
risk a guess.
What do you think?
Zero?
Zero crawdads.
0 crawdads are from Lake Tahoe.
Okay, that's a little hint. But how many actually?
How many daddies live in
Who's
Lake
your
Tahoe?
crawdaddy?
Justin's looking for a new daddy. We need
Yeah, raise your hand.
a million.
Not even close.
Not even close. Damn. How many crawdads? Okay, what do we got down here? Is it too high or too low?
Yeah, one young
Way
lady.
too low.
Way too low.
I was gonna say 11.
11. 11 crawdads. She actually counted them though.
I think there might be 11 in the trap that someone left over.
There's tons of crawdads. Anybody? Not willingly? What did it do? Did it creep up on your back?
They cook them in the south, right? In those giant pots. Am I wrong? Or is that, yeah.
Have you eaten one?
Oh, yeah.
Do you like crawdad? No, not really.
I like lobster, I like other things, but
Not crawdad. And you've been to Lake Tahoe too, Isa?
yeah.
When was the last time?
February.
Okay, everyone's been here like to Lake Tahoe very recently.
Congratulations.
Oh, look at this! You get Tahoe testing. Now, what do you have kids?
I have a 2-year-old.
Oh, there you go. Tahoe testing with a 2-year-old. Round of applause, everyone. All right, who is your daddy? Craw is.
So crawdads were introduced from the creeks in Marin County, actually.
Thanks a lot, Marin.
Back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, the sports fishermen thought if they had more bigger things for the fishies to eat, that the fish they caught would be bigger.
Is it
So they
true,
introduced
though?
Crawdads.
Yeah, did they end up being bigger?
Yeah, they ended up being bigger, but now we have 400 million non-native species crawling
How
around.
much did they start off with originally? Do you know?
I don't know.
What if we put deer there? Will that help?
So what are we doing? Are you trying to reduce the population of crawdads? Is that the
So
goal?
a couple years ago, somebody got a business idea that
Bring more
Lake
people from
Tahoe
the south.
crawdad fishing company, and they started putting nets out and collecting crawdads. So now sometimes you'll see Tahoe crawdads on the menus around the lake.
Okay. All right, so they've accepted that crawdads are there.
Why is that a bigger thing then, if there's so many
Well, we don't quite know
Some
how to
grits?
get rid of them. It's hard
Does
to
it-
tell.
crawdads with some grits?
Are they different from crawfish?
No, same thing.
Same
Crawdad,
thing.
crawfish.
Yeah, because there's like crawfish restaurants.
Crawdad, and then crawfish is a kid.
And if you ask Dr. Goldman, who's sort of the doctor of Lake Tahoe, the scientist of Lake Tahoe, he will recommend dog food in a can if you want to catch them. I know bacon is very popular, but he says dog food and crackers.
Oh my god, I thought you was like dog.
Salami as well?
This guy.
Salami too, all right.
Who here has eaten crawfish? Yeah, okay, crawfish fans, okay.
So I've been to Alabama.
Who here has 400 million crawfish?
Who here would like to eat a crawdaddy now looking at it on the screen here?
No.
Anybody? Maybe not so
It's
much?
like a mini lobster.
Okay, so now it's become part of the Lake Tahoe ecosystem.
It is.
But how has it affected the ecosystem?
Well, back to our daily load conversation.
Yeah.
You know, these
Back
guys
to Daily
eat,
Load, my friend.
and
How
Ray.
many crawfish have you had today?
and their poop has a lot of nitrogen in it, and so they're helping algae grow in the lake.
Okay.
Oh,
They're feeding the algae.
bad.
So the water's flammable now, is what Amy's trying to say. Nice.
Okay, so now is that an issue? Are you trying to reduce the numbers then, or is it just kind of?
Yeah, I mean, if you would like, you should go up and catch as many
Okay.
crawdads.
So maybe if we get more cows,
Put a dent in it.
ecosystem. Am I helping?
Florentina.
I'm just
No.
the idea person over here.
Next question, number 8.
What is the
Okay.
circumference of Lake Tahoe?
Guys, don't
All right, guys,
exaggerate.
bust out your ruler. Does anyone have an idea of the circumference? It could be
Gentlemen,
39
please.
trillion square feet galleons.
Circumference counts.
Is this in miles?
Yeah, miles, not acre feet.
No, feet.
Do we all know what circumference means?
I bet you know
Size
the
doesn't
answer.
matter.
I bet you might know. Okay, we have one up here though. What do you think?
Size doesn't matter.
72.
72 miles.
Yes.
That's right. Oh, you know, this guy knew it. Come on down.
What is size matter? Alright.
And what's your name?
Oh my god.
Ben, have you been around the entire Lake Tahoe?
I've driven around it.
You've driven around. Okay, nice, nice.
Ben, what size are you, shirt-wise?
He had a
Nothing about
qualified.
What's your circumference?
Oh, this could probably fit.
Media?
Yeah.
What's your circumference? Your shirt.
What's your circumference from?
And when was the last time you were in Lake Tahoe?
Weekend after the 4th.
Oh, nice. And what'd you do?
Went skiing.
Sweet.
Still open, yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, you're about to be dressed in this amazing. This is a Lake Tahoe jacket.
Here he is.
Oh, look at this. Does it fit?
Get in there. Get real low, Justin. Get so low, so deep. Get Tahoe deep.
Who's your crawdaddy? Okay. There it is.
Congratulations.
Give him a round of applause. Maybe in that moment living information.
That's
Shake your hand because you were yelling.
That's a North Lake Tahoe vest.
Justin does, provide.
Our
Thank you,
friends
Ben.
at North Lake Tahoe
You
help
made this
supply
night
all
worse.
the gifts.
That looks good on you. Looking
All
great.
right.
It looks cute. There's no refunds, by the
It
way.
does look good.
Hang on, 72 miles if you want to drive
Oh my
or
God,
ride your bike around the lake
Right.
or run around the lake. People do that too.
Oh my god.
33 miles.
There's so many bikes at the bottom of Lake Tahoe.
Yeah, that's
And dead bodies. Okay, there we go. There.
okay.
So one of the main causes of the fine sediment flowing in that we talked about is the number one thing people like to do when they get to Lake Tahoe is drive around the lake. And that
Yeah.
has huge water quality and air quality implications. So,
So you say you shouldn't drive around the lake?
So you're saying we should drink more in Tahoe?
yes,
Keep Tahoe.
drink and don't drive.
Drink and drunk drive.
Drink and don't drive.
Drink and
Drink and drive.
Are you already okay?
Drink and
So one of the big focus areas for the lake is building a bikeway that goes all the way around the lake one day. So we're about
Wow.
33 miles there now.
Okay.
The Tahoe Fund has helped fund 5 different sections of that bike path. Our biggest one is on the east shore. Has anyone been to Sand Harbor on the east shore? It's the #1 most visited state park in Nevada. And we are helping to build a bike path from Incline to Sand Harbor. It's about 3 miles long. It'll be 10 feet wide, totally off the road.
You
Separate.
ignore this, whatever. Who here has hiked around Lake Tahoe?
Pike, not hike, but pike.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, it's beautiful. So where are the bike
They're
paths
not
now.
here. They got hit by all those cars.
What's that?
Just kidding. What?
Okay. Where are they around Lake Tahoe now? Where's you see most of the paths?
That's the map actually of our East Shore Trail.
Okay.
From Incline to Sand Harbor. You can now ride from just north of Meeks Bay on the West Shore all the way to Tahoe City. From there, you can take a left and ride all the way out to Squaw Valley on a bike path. Or you go right, you can go through Tahoe City, up the hill to Dollar Hill, and there's a new section of 2 miles of trail that we helped fund under construction back Old County.
How long will it take to go around the whole lake?
To build all those trails or to ride your bike?
To ride it once it's done.
Oh, probably 4 to 6 hours. Depends on who you
72
are.
miles.
For like us, though.
Yeah, maybe like 10
Yeah.
hours.
So there's no one single trail that goes all the way around yet, right? When will that
Not
be?
yet.
When,
Still looking for a place to
when
stay.
do we know what year that'll probably be moved?
Yeah, building bike trails takes a long time. This path behind us on the map, the first time somebody drew a line on the map to say we should put a bike path here was 20 years ago. But there's a lot of progress right now, so we're hoping.
So by 2000, I guess 50,
We'll be like
not gonna be any
21.
water in that lake, by the way.
You just ride
Due to
across.
climate change, we could just run across entirely.
Yeah. Well, there's a tandem bike with your guys' names on it, I'm sure. I would
Yeah,
love to
you're
see
the
that.
front.
Tandem.
Yeah, and actually
Yeah.
there was a survey, and they asked people who visit Tahoe, what's the number one thing you want to see here? And over 60% of people said number one thing they want are more bike paths.
Yeah, I would love to see a bike path around the entire lake. I would definitely do that.
That's only for people who like filling out the survey, though, right?
It's for survey
Take the
people.
time.
It's for survey people.
That's survey people.
And are there property rights issues in terms of building this bike path?
There's a couple property rights issues, and they've got most of it sort of figured out. The tricky part is Emerald Bay.
Okay.
There's some talk about, the coolest idea I've heard is building a boat ferry. I picture kind of like
Okay.
Mark Twain, it would be like made of logs and you would wheel yourself.
Okay, yeah, all right.
Well, when we ride into the property rights, we'll just make a left.
Ah, here we go.
For the people who take surveys, you get it.
Here we go. Okay, go ahead. How was Lake Tahoe formed?
Long time ago.
Very good. All right, next question.
Yeah.
So this is a geological process?
By
The geological process behind the formation of Lake Tahoe.
What's the opposite of an earthquake?
A Quaker.
They don't know what the answer is, so you guys can at least guess.
Because if it's an
It'd be
earthquake,
closer.
it'd be
Anybody have an
But
idea?
it's a lake.
Oh, she does? You're getting pointed to. You're getting pointed to.
No?
That's what do you think?
Glaciers?
Glaciers. Is it?
Close. It didn't form a lake, but there's a huge history of glacial activity in Tahoe.
Okay, close. Anybody have another idea?
Aliens!
Aliens? Are we looking at aliens?
Illegal.
Be honest. No,
Mexicans.
Mexican.
Illegal alien.
Illegal aliens. Oh, yeah, one over here. Okay.
Created.
Build that lake.
I'm sorry, one more time?
The geosyncline, when the earth went up, the east side of the Sierras went up and the west side of the Sierras went down.
When you go high, we go low. I got it.
Is that correct?
She's correct.
Oh, she got it. Eureka. Come on down. You got another prize. So, wait, geosec?
Well, what it is plates, right? So these two plates met
same lake.
as the Earth was moving around, and one went up and one went down.
Okay.
So
Okay, you want us to give it to you? Do you not want to come? It's a bit of a journey, isn't it? It's not 72 miles though, but you're getting something amazing.
He knows I can read.
You know you garden and you're going to let us...
Geology is amazing because that's how the Sierra Nevadas and
I love Google
California,
Maps.
and that's why when you go to Nevada, it's straight up, and when you come from California, you drive forever.
And so the difference,
The earth just kind of popped up.
it pops up, things pop up sometimes, then liquid's left.
On the
Earth
east-
is
On the
amazing.
east side.
I don't know about you, but all that geography's gotten me thirsty.
Oh, yeah, little Lake Tahoe cup.
Cheers!
Yeah.
Cheers, round of applause.
There's bartending already for you, Paolo.
All right.
To your lovely house in
right.
Tahoe.
the answer we usually get is people think a volcano formed Lake Tahoe. So 24 million years ago, the plates were moving around. We ended up with 2 fault lines on the side, and then
And what were the names of those two fault lines?
the eastern and western, so you have the Sierra on one side, or not fault lines, ranges. So you have the Sierra range on one side,
Okay.
and then you have the Carson range on the other side. So
Okay.
there's this big valley, and then we had ice ages and all sorts of things, and we had glaciers moving around. The glaciers helped create some of the smaller lakes. The way somebody described it to me is, you're like shoveling snow. Maybe you don't know in San Francisco, but in Tahoe.
Yeah. We do not
And
know.
you keep pushing, and like you've overfilled your shovel, and it starts kind of dumping out on the sides. So that's kind of what glaciers do, is they move all the rocks, and then the rocks kind of dump out on the sides, and that's where you get these ranges that pop up on kind of the smaller lakes. So you'll see Fallen Leaf Lake, Emerald Bay, Cascade Lake. They all have this kind of horseshoe shape.
Okay.
What's Lake Tahoe's main source? Is that going to be a question on here? Is what's its main source of water then coming from melted glacier?
No, it's snow.
Snow.
And melting glaciers, formally.
And these are the faults then. We have 3 here.
So a little over 2 million years ago, there was a volcanic eruption up where North Star is, Mount Pluto. So before Mount Pluto, there was one outlet at Tahoe City, and then the glaciers moved in the way and blocked it, and then the lake levels rose significantly, and then the glaciers melted, and then that was open again, and then Mount Pluto erupted, closed it again. So it's kind of a combination of the two. But.
Okay. And are any of these active faults?
Yeah, they are. So this is a great map, actually, what I was talking about before, about the tsunami on the west shore. You can see the West Tahoe Fault. So see how Tahoe City to McKinney Bay, it's kind of like carved out? That's the part that fell off in the earthquake and dumped. If you have a satellite image of the lake, you can actually see 30-story high pieces of lake in the bottom of the lake bed.
There's actually a 4th fault, which is if you get stuck in traffic, it's all your fault. Like, why are you going there? Anyway, because it's all your fault. Get it.
So you can see, on this map, you can see the state line fault. So what we talked about, the deepest part of Lake Tahoe, where that state line fault runs just off the point of land, it's really just a wall of...
Okay, interesting. All right. So these are all 3 active, so potentially there could even be earthquakes and whatnot that could affect
so
the...
if we get like a size 7 or higher on the west fault, they think that little section on the west shore that hasn't fallen off yet could tumble into the lake and set off a 30-foot high tsunami.
Wow, there you go. What
Set up
an
a lake.
amazing time to be in Lake Tahoe. On your jet skis, this 30-foot wave coming your way. All that sediment.
But we're safe here in San Francisco, right?
You're safe.
Okay.
Keanu
That's what matters.
Except for once, I think everyone in Tahoe will flood to San Francisco.
Oh no.
Great. Who knew?
Awesome.
I'm prepared.
All right, and now we have a bonus question for you, since you've asked us so many amazing questions tonight. If you were to be given one superpower to defend Lake Tahoe, what would it be, and would it turn you evil?
If I had one superpower, it would be that you were not physically able to litter.
Okay, so you just...
So, one superpower to cut off everybody's hands.
So like you're done with whatever you're doing, you can't just leave it there. It's like magnetized.
That was pretty evil.
It's just,
Attached to your body.
Stuck to you. If you smoke cigarettes and you throw them out the window, they automatically fly back at you. If you poop, if your dog poops, the poop goes with you.
Yeah.
That's sort of
On the owner.
Connected to... And would you abuse that power? Be honest, Amy.
I don't think so.
You don't
no.
think so?
I'd be so happy to not see litter.
You wouldn't see someone like trying to throw it to the recycling that they can't get it out of their hand and they're stuck
Well,
for the rest
no,
of
if
the
they're close enough to recycling, we'd release the power and they could do it. But unfortunately, what we see is, with so many people in such a small space.
Bless you.
And we don't think people are evil.
That's sticking to you. That's
Yeah. Could you use your power right now and put that back in Justin's
Your
phone?
powers are too strong for Justin.
So,
He's leaving, Jesus.
Recycle yourself.
He's got mucus on his, okay.
it's an issue.
Yeah.
And so we need everyone who visits Tahoe to take a little bit better care of Tahoe.
Okay.
And not leave your beer bottles behind.
Right.
Or your cigarette butts.
Does anyone here ever do that? Fess up, have you ever left trash when you I don't know.
Nobody would admit it in here.
Only I left a date on the beach once. Does that count? Bam!
Whoa.
And it's the dates that you eat, those eating, like the edible dates. She left them on the
Oh,
beach.
very good.
She was on
And they
that.
decompose.
Exactly, that's okay.
Actually, don't even leave. Like a lot of people will peel an orange on a hike, and they leave their orange peel out there. Like, oh, it's from nature.
Yeah, it's
No,
competitive.
oranges were never grown in Lake Tahoe. Don't leave your orange peels.
Okay,
What about
yeah.
What
bananas?
happens if you leave orange peel around?
Bananas?
You know, no peels. Take them with you. Yeah.
But doesn't it feed like the
You're just begging to
What
live
about
right
if my
now.
skin peels?
Because Florentine is actually a snake, so when her skin peels and it sheds.
Oh, there it is. Okay, is littering a major issue though in Lake Tahoe?
It is. You know, it's a major issue kind of all over America, but we see it on, especially in the winter with sledding hills. People go
Okay.
sledding, and those sleds are made of like the thinnest plastic. You get them cold, and they just crumble. And so what most people do is like, if you're on, I get it. You've been sledding for maybe 10 minutes with your kids. You were expecting a whole awesome family outing.
Yeah, you have to walk up
Your
the
kids
hill.
are crying, their noses are running. It's not nearly as fun as they thought it was going to be. Their sled broke, and they're like, "Ugh, screw this, we're out of here." And so they throw the kids back in the car, and they leave their sleds all over it. So, and then it snows, right? So then it snows, and you can't see the sleds. And then they do it again, and then it snows again. And so what happens in June is people like me, we go out to the sled hill with 4 or 5 other volunteers, and we spend hours
Picking
picking
up
up
sleds?
these little pieces of plastic.
Well, there's a solution to that. Just don't have kids.
The other solution is not to litter. Are we going to litter in Lake Tahoe? Anybody? No. Are we going to give a big round of applause to Amy for such a wonderful guest? And of course, to Justin and Florentina. Invite them to your summer home in Lake Tahoe. They will be great.
We're available for your party.
Thank you guys for coming out.